Hello the peoples, my name is Factor, an RNG Factor, and today I have a confession to make. I hated Melee. I think I just focus on what the game specifically has alone. Otherwise I'd have to talk about fan bases. Yeah, I said I wouldn't talk about that, but this whole game made me realize something. Melee is a good game. Before I get into the nitty-gritty, I need to address this. I have had people in my life, people at parties, people in school, people online, be just such a irritable mess. To everyone, when Melee comes up or gets played, they trash talk, they act childish, they caused me to take my anger from those individuals and blind me to what Melee truly is. And what it is a crash course on game design. And it's oddly tantalizing. Like, I'm serious. I love the fact that I like Melee again. It's back on the would play with friends list again. I like that. So, Melee smashed down on consoles on December 3rd, 2001 in America, and November wait a minute. Wait, what the heck? They made this game in 2.5 years? Well, no wonder it's broken. Oh, sorry, spoilers. Well, yeah, the cat's out of the bag, I guess. This game is, well, it's definitely fun. The character list is way bigger than it was beforehand. There's so much more stuff to do, single-player-wise, and the AI can go eat a bagel with no cream cheese. I swear. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start with what most people do first. Unlocking stuff. Step right up and experience the enjoyment of unlocking 11 characters, 11 stages, 290 trophies, all-star mode, score display, and a sound test. Credit where credit is due. Each character feels unique, except Luigi again. There's an impressive amount of stages, there's a lot more stuff, and by that I mean there's a lot more fluff as well. You see, with the increased amount of stages and characters, it lets you have a lot more combinations of things. Well, unless you only... But with that increase in characters, you have more times you have to do classic mode, and adventure mode, and all-star mode. Which sick freak invented this one, by the way? It can't just be me that gets super burnt out after 3 adventure runs. Like, right? Anyway, since we're on the subject of single player, let's roll with that. There's a lot to do here, including classic mode. I like the way they did this, by the way. You still have a set amount of fights on each blip with bonus stages in between and a boss fight with Master Hand, but they did it better this time. Each of the stages is quote-unquote random, and by that I mean each blip you see above has a set 1v1 fight, a big character versus 3 fight, metal character, etc. You get the point. Those spots are bound to those blips, like individual blips, but the characters that appear there are random. It gives a fair amount of variety, and that's a breath of fresh air every time you play it. Like, it doesn't ever get draining. You know what does get draining after 3 times? Adventure mode! Now, before you get your pitchforks and torches, let me just say that adventure mode is fantastic to run through for the first 1 or 2 times. Like, I'm gonna go through all the parts, okay? And I know that different things happen depending on who you have unlocked, and I'm gonna go over that, and it's kind of like the N64 version of classic mode. It gets old quick. The best way to amaze a crowd is to show off your second best first, so let's start with the Marios. You get to use your character to run through a 2D level of Mario. That's pretty simple, but also really cool. There's Goombas and Koopas and Yoshis and whatever the heck this floating pile of blocks is supposed to represent. It's so vibrant. The colors are fun, there's a trophy scattered somewhere on the map, we'll get to that as well, and at the end you get to a finish line to which you fight Mario and Peach to move on. Also, if your seconds end in 2, you get to fight Luigi instead of Mario to unlock him. Now we have a couple of small DKs, and then a big DK. Okay. Then we have another awesome level in Zelda's world where you explore a dungeon, and this is absolutely my favorite part of adventure mode. There's 6 points on the map, like the 6 stages, which you either fight a Link, represented by a sword, or you reach the end, represented by a Triforce. If you're careful enough, you can avoid every link to reach the end quickly, but you can also get bonus points if you beat all the links before finishing. Question: why is there a torture chamber boarded up at the bottom left? Anyway, after that, you fight Zelda and we move on again. Samus time! After beating her, we go to an escape section where you jump and jump and jump and hopefully don't fall. If you reach the top, you win, and if you don't, you still win. You just lose a stock, that's all. Oh boy, green greens and a tree that we can actually see this time. Fight the Kirby and then fight multiple Kirbys with different hats and move on. Oh, unless you beat the mini Kirbys in 30 seconds or less, then you fight the Honkin' Chonker. Now for Fox's stage. Have you noticed that these are going by rather quickly? Now for Fox's stage, where we fight Fox, then we fight Fox again. But hey, if you have Falcon unlocked, sometimes he appears instead. Now for Pikachu with some Jigglies or Pichus mixed in if you haven't been locked, and there's a bunch of Pokeballs. Next. Oh, okay, here's another cool part. You gotta run across the raceway while the race cars race in the race background race. You gotta keep running and hop on platforms and hope you don't get deaded by not paying attention when the cars make their rounds. You do get hurt a lot if you get hit, so just don't do that. After we reach the end, we fight Captain Falcon. Now we fight 3 Nesses with a bunch of Saturn everywhere. Next. Climbing up the mountain, oh man, this one was stressful as crap when I was a kid. The scrolling starts out slow, while building up speed over time, and if you reach high enough on the top of the stage, the camera zooms down and you can continue this over and over again. There's not too much point to that, honestly, because this whole stage is on a timer. However, before the next fight, the stage starts moving. Then you fight 2 ice climbers. Or rather, 4. 2 sets of 2? But there's also like 2 for 1. If you divide the 4 and take the derivative, we're close to the end. But first it's time to fight some wireframes. I have some words about these guys later. However, we just beat 15 of them and move on to Metal Mario, or Metal Bros if you have Luigi unlocked. Beat them and it's time for Final Destination, Bowser. You beat him and you win. Okay, so, aside from classic mode and adventure mode, oh please, like I'd forget the most terrifying thing in this game. If you play on normal or higher and beat Bowser in less than 18 minutes up to this point without continuing, or at least I think it's without continuing, Bowser's trophy falls off the edge, but then rises back up and transforms into the nightmare's hellspawn known simply as Gigabowser. Look at this thing! It's horrifying! I know that they used him in Ultimate, but this thing is a nightmare with those graphics. The way he's shaped is just so warped and freaky. Ugh. However, if you manage to beat him, you'll get his trophy, so you can just let it stare at you for days at a time. Anyway, adventure mode. It's just like Disney World, but less fun. Hear me out on this one. Imagine going on a roller coaster, okay? Now do it again. Now do it again. And 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 again. Do this 25 times, okay? Do it in a row. And I'm not saying there aren't people that love going on that roller coaster over and over and over again, spending a whole day doing it, but the small changes each run has that the roller coaster can change are just that. They're small changes. They don't affect the ride that much. It's just the same thing over and over again. Anyway, on to the actual exciting part. Event mode! Oh, yes! It goes really quick. Wow, aren't I negative today? But I'm not wrong. It goes super quick, but it's also super fun, minus a few of them. Each of the 51 events pitch you into a unique battle with special traits sometimes. Some make you small, some make you huge, some make you fight thing that huge, or vice versa. Some make you fight a bunch of enemies, some make you battle a trophy. I actually refuse to go over each one, because you, and I mean you watching this, need to go back and play through them again. It is great every time, minus a few. Also, while I was going through this, I discovered I actually have a main in this game. The last time I played this, it was actually Ganondorf. And now, I'm a heckin' Falco main, baby, let's go! Oh man, seriously, beating the final event with Falco was a power trip I was not expecting. Yes, I'm blurring it. Go back and play it yourself. I have never changed mains this hard before.
No. What?
Like I'm serious. This has never happened before. I don't know who my mains are anymore. Like I used to have Captain Falcon, and now it's Pikachu in 64. I used to have Ganon and Roy in Melee, and now it's Falco. Like I don't know anymore. What? Continuing our romp through single player, we have the fabled All-Star mode. But to start All-Star mode, we're also going to have to do a bit of coin grabbing. Trust me, this will make sense later on. So there's a few ways you can actually grind for coins. One of the ways is to play classic mode over and over again while getting to the end of the labyrinth maze race thing, and that's an instant 5 coins right then and there. Pretty snazzy, huh? Well, while I was searching through the internet, because honestly that takes way too much heckin' time, I discovered an interesting little tidbit. There's a little thing called dash dancing, where if you move left and right on the control stick fast enough, you do this. An interesting thing about this is that it takes about 5 minutes to get about 10 coins if you use your thumb. I, on the other hand, found out you can do it pretty dang fast using my finger and thumb and then going like this. Now, why would I be talking about a coin collecting method in Melee? Well, it's simple actually. It's because All-Star mode is the culmination of everything I don't like about Melee. Like, I beat it on very hard, and I had to use so many coins to actually beat it. 2 main reasons. 1, RNG. Okay, this is me. RNG for character placement on the roster when it first appears for every time you start a run of All-Star. And 2, the AI is complete bull. You see, with All-Star mode, you have to fight every single fighter in 1 life. With that 1 life, you have 3 heart containers to heal all damage to make it to the end. However, the AI has a disease called I'm going to pummel you with everybody around me, rack up so much damage that there's no possible way they can beat the next level without using a heart to continue. ITSA. You could very well make the argument that I'm not good at the game, and in some aspects, you'd be correct. But the issue is that the AI is programmed in a way that should they choose to, you'd never be able to deal any damage to them, seemingly. And I say seemingly because there are times where you can outsmart the AI no problem, like catching them on their end lag or something like that. But may I direct your attention to 2 particular characters, namely Fox and Peach. Some of the reaction times are just straight up frame perfect. I refuse to believe otherwise. Frankly, I don't even care if that's true or not. But every enemy AI can do reaction times that are just impossible for humans, even on lower difficulties. It could very well be that they were just programmed to know what their limits were, and in any given frame are just on a randomizer whether they actually go for the hit or not. Also the fact that the fights go like this. There are 4 1v1 matches, 4 1v2 matches, 4 1v3 matches, and then a pack of Game & Watch at the end. Normally whatever damage you have at the end of a fight is just what you have at the beginning of the next round, but if you lose that fight and you have to continue, which is 10 coins by the way, you can start the fight again, but you have 0 damage on you. So what happens when you get good RNG and a shedload of coins? You better believe that we're going all out on that particular one. I beat it through sheer hard work and a beefy Ganon because I swear you need to be able to take some damage. Playing through all the modes made me realize something. I felt like I was being given the win each time. And I felt this way because all of the computers on the highest difficulty will sometimes just stand around and do nothing, even when near you. It's like the developers created the AI, but they were too good at reaction times, so they just kinda made them space out for a bit to compensate. On the opposite side of that, playing on the easiest difficulty is just like walking through Disneyland, or even just sitting in line to Disneyland. They should have called these like 5-star resort to like street fight with knives difficulty. Okay, pause on this one for a second. If I keep going on this, I'll just keep rambling about the AI forever, because I've just been dealing with them for far too long. Instead, let's talk about minigames. How could you possibly forget about the introduction of multi-man melee? The famed 100-man melee, which I beat with Link, by the way, almost every single time. There's cruel melee, meaning that you just better hope no one touches you because it's almost like an instant kill. Individual target test is still here. The freaking home run contest. Each of them is a good distraction. Minus 15-minute melee. Screw 15-minute melee. I can only ever do it with Mewtwo. And a quick note about the home run contest. It's racking up a ton of damage on a sandbag and then smacking it with a home run bat just to see how far you can smack it. I swear there's something primal there. Now as for multiplayer and the rest of Melee, I can't fit it all in one video. Trust me, there's still a lot to go over. But for now, man, I tell you, single player is a definite trip if there ever was one. Still love event mode. I still love it. Anyway, remember that I am still gonna stream the rest of these on Twitch with Brawl and those coming forward, assuming I beat Brawl. But for now, that'll be enough for me. This is your RNG Factor signing off. Hello, the people's name is Factor. I've never screwed that one up before. Now, why would I be talking about the coin collecting method for Smelee?